What's up, everybody? This is Devin White, linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're listening to the LCC Network. Go Bucks.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Commissioner's Clubhouse and the LCC Network for week 1 of 2021. It is finally here. We have got football back, for the most part, back to normal for most people. And our fantasy season, it has officially started, at least as of the time most people are probably listening on Thursday, but even though we're recording Wednesday night. But with me today, I have got Mafali back on the show again. And of course, we've got Jordan, my co-commissioner, on the show too. Of course, this wouldn't be the Commissioner's Clubhouse if we didn't at least have one of us here. But what's going on, guys? How's y'all's weekend?
It was pretty good. Football filled, lots of college football and fantasy drafts, so it was nice.
Yeah, I had to suffer through my Tigers loss, as we discussed a little bit off air. But other than that, it was okay, and extremely excited for some NFL kickoff and some LCC kickoff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, college football wise, it was fun to see that back. I mean, I feel like if there was an aspect of football that got demolished because of COVID, it was definitely college football. You know, a lot of teams playing only 5 games or less. Plus, you know, it college football is made up because of the atmosphere more so than the quality of the game and so forth. So it was nice seeing that back to normal for sure.
I agree. You know, as somebody who's a big NFL fan, like much more than college, I will say it's tough to match the environment of just thousands and thousands of drunk college kids, and it is really exciting to watch.
Yeah.
As sad as it is, it's hard for the Panthers to get that stadium rocking the way Clemson and Georgia got it rocking.
Yeah. It's
Hopefully we'll build and become that, but
I mean, honestly, like seeing Bank of America Stadium crammed with Georgia and Clemson fans, like who would have thought Bank of America Stadium would get that lit for a game? I mean, I don't know if they've ever had that kind of crowd at Bank of America Stadium. And no shade to my Panthers and my fellow Panther fans, but I mean, that was, from what I saw on television, of course I wasn't there. I mean, it seemed pretty loud and that was a good turnout.
yeah.
But yeah, all right, enough with college football. All right, we're here for fantasy football, the LCC Week 1. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through pretty much most of the matchups, at least, or all of them, in terms of who we're picking, why we might pick them. We're going to be a little brief with most of the games, except for a game of the week, which most people already know. Of course, you got primetime players and Spurs, rematch Little Critter Bowl from last season and the year before, and they played week 1 last year too, which is interesting enough. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the plan in terms of news and notes around the league. For the most part, I feel like in terms of the league, I mean, everyone's kind of up to date there. It starts. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say. Like, it is here. Week 1 is here, and I'm freaking pumped. I know you guys are too, so let's just dive into this with our Week 1 matchups. We've got a doozy on our hands here. Divisional matchups are not this week. Neither are conference. It's all out-of-conference matchups for Week 1. We won't really talk about it here because it's our game of the week. We got the Spurs versus primetime players, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I guess we'll work down the list. I think I sent you guys a screenshot of what our viewers are watching right now, but the next matchup here is myself, Roebuck Leprechauns, versus the New Orleans Voodoo, who is taking over a good team from last year. And I feel like I said in the last week's episode, that it is a solid team. I feel like John, as a rookie GM, has done all right. I think the team could be a little bit better, but all things said, I think it's a team that can make the playoffs still. What are your guys? I mean, do you have... I don't really want to talk about myself, so I'll let you guys talk about this matchup a little bit more if you'd like.
All right, go ahead, Jordan.
All right, I'll lead us off. I like some of the stuff he's got going on. We talked about it when we were breaking down some of the teams on one of our last episodes, but I think he'll still have a tough time beating you, and I think it all starts off with rookie Zach Wilson going against the Panthers. I think most of us aren't too confident in Zach Wilson, but the most confident person in Zach Wilson is the Voodoo. So more power to him, and we'll see how he can do. But overall, I would lean you. Just you're going to have really strong running back play from Kamara. Probably on a first game without a Hall of Famer Drew Brees, they're going to want to give him the ball, whether it's running or receiving. So I like that going for you. Strong defense starting out with Chase Young. And I just think both unproven quarterbacks, but I just like Jalen Hurts' ability to make more splash plays, especially with his legs against the Falcons defense. And that could just be my bias towards what I've seen out of the reporting from the Carolina Panther defense.
Yeah, no, even as a non-Panther fan, I've heard a lot of good things about that defense out of camp. But the one thing I'm going to just point out right off the bat of why I don't think New Orleans Voodoo is going to win is he didn't start the stack. The man who has started the whole trend of this is the stack, as of now, has Corey Davis on his bench. Maybe he'll hear this and switch it, but, I need to see Corey Davis in that lineup, man. If we're talking about stacks, like, get it in there and let's get it going. Other than that, he has a solid team. I do like it. But I'm definitely leaning Pat here. I like his defense a lot. I think Winfield is a great safety. Collins is going to break out this year as one of the better linebackers. I think he'll be better than Simmons in that linebacking core. And obviously Chase Young is a freak. I'm not a huge fan of the matchup with the Chargers. They have a great line, but, Young is young. And all your other matchups look like they can all explode. So I really think you'll end up winning this one pretty handily, honestly. And unless he gets the stack in there, because, the stack can make anything happen. So.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about the stack. I feel like I've been well educated on the stack over the past 2 weeks, thanks to John. So thank you.
If he beats you, he should switch his name to the New Orleans Stackers.
He really should. But no, I mean, honestly, the only matchup for me I don't like is Amari Cooper versus the Bucks. For the past couple years, Dallas has had one of the better O-lines, or arguably the best O-line in the league. But they're a little bit banged up right now. Tampa Bay's defense, of course, is really good. So in terms of how Dak Prescott connects with Amari, I have no idea what to expect. Plus Thursday Night Football, it seems like it's always cursed. So I've got that going against me too. But I am a little interested to see, like everyone else is, with Corey Davis being on the bench here for New Orleans. Just because of the fact that if you're going to hype up Zach Wilson and you're going to hype up Corey Davis, like, what does it say for you to bench Tyreek over Corey? Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't start Corey this week. I really think Carolina's defense should be pretty good. I'm excited to see how we do as a Panther fan against a rookie quarterback in that relatively new offense. I feel like as a whole. So, but yeah, I'm gonna pick myself for this. I hate doing that because I feel like I just end up losing when I have any kind of confidence in my team. But yeah, as of now, I'm going with myself here for Week 1. Our next matchup, we've got the Steel Curtain versus the Third Leg. This is a former fraternity rivalry right here, so you could argue, between Cody and Charles. Yeah. And, of course, Charles is the last Mohican on GroupMe right now, so he's sticking it to the man, as one may say. But who are you guys going here? Because I really like Charles' team, and I really like Cody's team, and I don't think I would have picked this as a primetime matchup earlier in the year, but the way things turned out for Charles, he hasn't set his lineup yet officially, but I like his team. I do think Zeke may struggle against Tampa Bay on Thursday, which could hurt him. But luckily, I don't think Saquon's going to do much this week personally. So I think that's okay. I think he can get by with that. I just don't know who's going to be his flex player, which could be the difference maker in a close matchup like this.
Yeah, for me, I'm kind of looking to see what Baker Mayfield shows up. I mean, if he ends up in a shootout with KC, that's going to work out great for Charles. Like we said, he didn't set his lineup, so Charles, if you're listening, go set your lineup, man. But he has a great team, and both these teams have great teams. If it wasn't for the fact that Daquan and Cameron were, coming off facing the championship 2 times, this would be my matchup of the week right here because these 2 teams are loaded, and I really like both of them. So, but I'm gonna have to give the slight edge to Cody on this one. As tough as it is, it's gonna be a really close matchup, but I'm gonna go slight edge Cody. Just I think difference maker for me will be Mike Evans, the guy that he traded for, just to really stick it to Charles. Mike Evans goes off tomorrow night. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. Commissioner's Clubhouse.
Well, tonight for those who are going to be listening, pretty much tomorrow. But yeah.
Yeah.
We're recording this on Wednesday.
These are, like he said, these are 2 really good teams, and every right to be game of the week also. But like we said, we have a little history behind the actual game of the week. But I think, as of right now, I would slightly lean Charles myself. You got Baker. I like Cody's matchup, of course, with the quarterback. He's got that advantage with Rodgers over Baker. But some of the things I just like on Charles's team, I mean, Hopkins, you can't be mad at that. Nick Bosa's there to play defensive end, and I think you can start both Eric Kendricks and Micah Parsons and have really, really solid days. And I just think that might be where he sets himself apart from Cody is the linebackers. I know Cody is a fan of Kenneth Murray, but I just think the linebackers will probably set it apart. And you mentioned it a little bit. Zeke will probably – not that he'll fully outplay Saquon. I just think he'll get the heavier workload with Saquon coming off an injury.
Yeah.
So I would leave Charles in this matchup.
Yeah, same here. Sorry for when they hears my dog in the background. She's having a bad dream. So, but
yeah, that's our mascot.
That's our mascot, Jolene.
Yeah.
But no, I think our next matchup is going to be interesting because I know Mafali, you didn't seem to have a lot of faith in your own team earlier at the later part of the offseason. But our next matchup, Step Bros Fantasy Company versus Mufasa Moneymakers. And we have Matt McCarson here, who is a rookie GM in the league. He went and got Tua. I feel like Tua has already been moving around a good bit in the LCC so far. I'm so sorry. I'm trying not to laugh with her still going on in the background, but I can't help it. But no, this is going to be a good matchup because I feel like both of y'all are pretty even here. Of course, Trevor Lawrence, everyone's waiting to see how does he do, and I think if he has one matchup this year where he should go off, it's in Week 1 against Houston. I really think Trevor can have a really good game this week, and that might be the difference maker. With Tua going against New England, I feel like Bill Belichick will have something schemed up to shut Tua down.
Yeah, I'll go next since Steve is participating in this game. But yeah, what a matchup. Steve versus the Step Bro Fantasy Company, which Matt probably, I know we all kind of recruited him, but he probably got in the league mostly because of your post on Twitter.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that this wound up being a Week 1 matchup. And personally, I think I'm going to go with the rookie GM in this and say Matt can take the upset. And I would hope Trevor slightly outplays Tua, but I don't know about that. But where I like Matt in this, I'm going to say the X factor in this game is Khalil Mack does something huge. And I think that'll push him over the edge with you. And everything else is about even. I can see Jerome Baker having a good game as well. You have the question marks with the Dallas linebackers is which one is going to step up and go off. And at this point in Week 1, it's a guess instead of consistently seeing it. So I'm going to go with Matt and say edges the moneymakers out this week.
Okay. I'm going with Mafali here. Partially just because the way Matt structured his lineup, he's starting 2 receiver/tight ends, which usually is not a good sign. I really think if he put in Shaq Thompson instead, I'd probably feel a little bit better about his starting lineup. But right now, Mafali, I got to go with you just because of the fact I like your defense a little bit better this week. And again, Trevor Lawrence, I think, will be the X factor.
Yeah. So first off, I'll start by saying I am still confident in my team, but I understand that I don't have some of the elite players needed to push me over the top unless I get super hot. So I'm kind of like, hedging my bet a little bit. But unfortunately, I do like Matt's matchup here. Well, the matchup for Matt a little bit more. For those who don't know, me and Matt have been playing in the same league in Yahoo for a long time now, and we claim we have a rivalry, but he's gotten me the last few times. So now he just says, "Is it a rivalry if one person keeps winning?" He's a big shit talker, so he's fun, but unfortunately, I think he's going to get me here again because I really do like that Khalil Mack matchup that Jordan pointed out. Not a big fan of the LA Rams offensive line. I think they have some questions, and Khalil Mack might expose them early. And also, as a Patriots fan, I still remember this game from last week. Jerome Baker went crazy against us week 1 last year. He had like almost 15 tackles, like a sack. And, we're going to be starting a different quarterback, so maybe that plays a big difference because a lot of his tackles were on Cam, run options. But I still think those are two really good matchups for him. And the only weakness I might see is Deebo Samuel. But if one of my defensive players doesn't play well, that could even out. And I kind of going to give him the slight advantage here. But maybe that's just because I don't want to get, like you said, Pat, I don't want to jinx myself either. So.
That's good. All right, well, let's keep it moving. We're already 15 minutes, 16 minutes in, sorry, and we still aren't quite halfway through these. So
the people love it.
People love it. We got Give Me More versus Detroit Bad Boys, and this is one I feel like it when we were pre-planning game of the week. So like if it wasn't for Cameron and Daquan having the week 1 slate, this probably would have ended up game of the week, just because both teams are perennially really good. But Jameson, of course, went 12-0 last year. I feel like his teammate should be Mr. 12-0 now. But he's trying to get over the hump. I don't think he's so much worried about the regular season record at the end of the day anymore. He is trying to do everything he can to win a championship or at least go deep in the playoffs for once, because he's pretty much always a one-and-done guy, kind of like myself. It's just the way we do things. But these are two even teams. I mean, two great quarterbacks, two good running backs. The receivers are pretty even. I actually might even lean Jameson a little bit. So I'm not a big OBJ fan. But I do feel like in some ways Billy's got the more veteran defense, more proven defense. I think Jameson's got a couple question marks between Jamin Davis, of course. And I'm not totally convinced on Amani Hooker yet, even though he's the declared strong safety in Tennessee. I feel like there's still a little bit to be seen there. For me, in this matchup, I think I'm going to have to go Billy, just because the fact that Christian McCaffrey against the Jets, he should have a good game, especially his first game back. I feel like he's got a chip on his shoulder. And on top of that, I think that Russell Wilson and Darius Leonard are going to be meeting each other a couple times, which should play off well for Billy too.
Yeah, this is a slobber knocker, man. I'm looking at the teams right now, and I probably should have already decided a winner. And I'm sitting here talking till I decide, really. But yeah, you got crazy matchups across the board. I want to lean Billy just because I feel like you said McCaffrey will most likely go apeshit against the Jets. I do like Jameson's defense slightly better, which sounds weird because Darius Leonard in there. I think I have a little more faith in those safeties than you do. And if Jamin Davis can come out and be like defensive rookie of the year, Jameson's got a really, really strong squad. But man, I think I'm going to lean Billy here. I'm going to say Billy takes it slightly. And man, if I was him, I'd be so tempted to start Antonio Brown over Odell Beckham.
Yeah, but, I would too.
Yeah, but I'll lean slightly Billy. Jameson's probably going to prove me a fool and go off, but I'm going to say the bad boys get it done.
Yeah, that's where I'm leaning to. I'm leaning with the bad boys. You know, I'm not a big fan of either defense, honestly. I'm not. I mean, I love Darius Leonard, but you know, the rest of Philly's defense, I'm not too big on it. Chuck Clark's pretty solid, but the others I think are just like all right fantasy players. Jameson's is more of like potential for me. I mean, Donovan Wilson had a solid year last year, but like even with the same questions I have at linebacker for Dallas, like they're going to try to get all those guys on the field as much as possible, and it could hurt some of their safeties and just in terms of getting tackles. You know, they might play a lot of heavy like linebacker, and they might put 3 or 4 linebackers out there at one time. You know, who knows what they're going to do this year.
That's true.
But for me, I'm just also not a big fan of Joe Mixon this year, and I think Minnesota is one of the more underrated defenses this year. You know, they get Danielle Hunter back, who I've been a big fan of, and they added Patrick Peterson. You know, not that has much to do with the run, but just as an overall defense, I think they're very solid. And I just don't even. I've been saying it a lot on the podcast that I don't like what Cincinnati's done with their O-line. And to me, when a team in the last 3 drafts has added, quarterback, wide receiver with their early picks and not gone any offensive line, that kind of just screams like, they want to pass the ball. They want to sling it. And that doesn't look good for a running back, There's really, like last year he got hurt because there was nowhere to run. And I don't really see it being much different this year unless, they really just spread him out and just use him as a passing back and don't even run the ball that much. But to me, I do give the slight edge to Billy. Both teams are great in the end. They really are. They're 2 of the more elite teams in the league. But I'm going to go slight edge Billy.
Okay. Yeah. Unanimous here with Billy. But I do think we all agree it's going to be close. So
this is where we need Boomer to come in and just say, so you're all on the Detroit Bad Boys.
Yeah, that's right. So our next matchup is going to be interesting between I always want to say bring back Rexy, but it's bringing Rexy back versus Burrow's Body Count. 2 teams named after 2 different quarterbacks with various skill levels at one point in their career at least. But yeah, this is an interesting one just because we got a rookie GM here going up against a guy who's obviously been in the league for a year now with Zach, and I feel like he's kind of started to figure some things out for himself and how to construct his roster. He's definitely not a rookie anymore, so I'm interested to see, does he make that leap this year and get into the playoffs. But honestly, this is a game that I feel could be kind of even in different ways, just because I love James Robinson this week against Houston. But I also like DK's situation going against the Colts for Burr's Body Count, whereas, bringing Rexy back only has Darren Waller at wide receiver, which is not a good sign. I would actually go Laviska Shenault or Kenny Galladay before I would even consider Darren Waller for my starting lineup.
Yeah, I'm actually on the total opposite of that. I love Darren Waller. I honestly think he has upside of like some of the wide receiver ones because I don't like any of their wide receivers on that team. I just think he's their focal point, and he has some wide receiver skills. He's a very quick guy. He could easily put up like not as good as Kelsey numbers because he's not in that style of offense, but he can get close to that, and I think he could put up near wide receiver 2 numbers. Maybe not like the elite wide receiver ones like the Hopkins and the Diggs and, the Devontae Adams, but I think he could sit there around like with some of those you see like Robert Woods and other guys like that maybe. So I do like Waller, but the big thing for me on Burrow's body counts, I think his defense is just much better, much more. I mean, with defense, you never know what's going to happen too. Like, that's why a lot of people try to build up their offense because that's where you get your consistency from. Defense, you can find guys that hit on random weeks. You never know what's going to happen. But, his defense, he's got so many good names, from last year. We'll see how Chin does with the position adjustment, but Simmons and Peppers are 2 really good safeties that you can rely on. Could be or probably top 15 safeties in terms of IDP. Hassan Reddick is a great pass rusher. I was a big fan of that addition for you guys this offseason. Him and Burns are going to be one of the better elite, edge rushing tandems this year. But for me, with him, the only weakness is obviously his running back is the big one. So, but I think he'll still find a way to get over that and win this week. So I'm going to go with Burrow's body count.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Burrow's body count too of this.
That's the only reason I don't want to pick Burrow is having to start James Conner. But I do feel like the rest of his matchup specifically can get the job done for him.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned DK having a nice day. I like both the Carolina defenders, like you said. It's basically Chin's a safety now, but he's basically got 3 play me in the box safeties, which i.e. equals fantasy linebacker.
Yeah,
So I think that's where he's really going to make the separation is on the defensive side of the ball.
for sure. He's got the bigger names.
Yeah, maybe he loses if James Conner lays a goose egg, and it's just CJ has some consistency across his board. But I think I'll lean Burrow as well. So we're 3 for 3 with body count.
Another one, man.
Yeah.
We're definitely gonna be wrong
Great
on one
minds
of these
think
now.
alike.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be wrong somewhere.
Yeah. All right. Our next one is going to be interesting because it's Mr. 300 versus Michael and only but name. And
Yeah.
this is, I don't know, like Jordan, we drafted for Michael's team essentially, so I felt good about it, but there is no starting lineup to be spoken of at the moment. And I don't think we're going to get one from him. I honestly think it's going to be you and I putting our hands in the steering wheel here, at least for this week. But I like Mr. 300 here for everything but the running back position. I'm still not crazy about Chase Edmonds. And I really think that Tremaine Edmonds at linebacker is a guy that we have not seen everything that we wanted to see out of him as an NFL middle linebacker. And I get it, he plays in a 3-4, but he's really only averaging low 30s most weeks in his career. So, and he's going against Pittsburgh, so I guess it's a good matchup. But if we get a starting lineup out of Michael, I actually would be willing to pick Michael this week, as wild as that sounds, because of the fact it's a solid team. You got Jordan Poyer, top 5 safety, Demario Davis, top 24 linebacker. Of course, you've got Frank Clark, who has some high upside. And then you got Adam Thielen, and you got Austin Eckler and Derek Carr. So, if we get a starting lineup out of Michael's team, that's probably where I'm going. But as of now, I guess I've got to pick Mr. 300 if there isn't a starting lineup.
Yeah, just looking at Michael's team, we would have to just guess what we would plug in and start. I guess after he misses a lineup set, that franchises officially be available. But with the lineup started, I probably would lean him as well. I'd like him even more if Austin Eckler was healthy. But I'm iffy with Colby going with Dak on the first Thursday night game of the year off the injury. Had the same problem with the last team with James Conner. Like, what workload does Chase Edmonds get? So once there's a set lineup, I'll go Michael. The only thing I really love off of Colby's team is his linebackers. I'm probably a little higher on Edmonds breaking out, but breaking out further, I guess he's a pretty good player already. But so yeah, I would. Colby would have. He's got Cam Akers, I believe, on IR, and that would make him a lot stronger. But it's just tough to pick him, even against Team Michael, with Chase Edmonds being your RB1.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be tough for him. Speaking on Tremaine Edmonds, since we both mentioned him, it's crazy to think that he's only 23 years old and he's been in the league 4 years. It feels like he's already a veteran, and it's like
It's wild.
23 is where a lot of rookies are coming in as. Like, he came in so young and is such a raw talent. That's why, a lot of people were huge, and he was. I think his first year he was looking like he was going to be a fantasy stud, one of the best guys, but he just kind of fell off a little bit. He's been struggling with injuries, but at any point, he's so young. There's no way I'm not going to doubt. I could see him popping off again to be one of the top 5 linebackers in any moment. He has that potential. From him, it's more about health and consistency.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. There's a big difference in physical, advancement between the ages of 20 and 26. So he was playing in the NFL, still growing into his grown man body. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you look statistically, a lot of NFL player stats, they peak around that 26, 27, 28 is when they have some of their best years. Especially the skill, quarterbacks are different, but when I'm talking skill position guys, they usually peak around that time.
Yeah.
A lot of the times when I'm picking for especially leagues like this, I do go off of age sometimes because I'm projecting this is going to be the year the guy finally matures. Just not only physically, his body just finally growing into it fully, but just also experience, and just having all that. experience is crucial. It's not easy to play in the NFL. So as a rookie, it could be tough. I mean, we see a lot of guys do well now as rookies, but it always helps to, get that experience. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Colby regardless of the lineup. I don't care who. Michael can go get Emmitt Smith and everybody he wants, and he can go get Tom Brady and all the goats or whatever. But he's not. I'm just gonna have to go the opposite of you guys. So that's really what this came down to for me. We can't go all unanimous again. I had to switch it up.
About time.
Oh man! All right, our next matchup is interesting because we got Hunter of Champions versus Seaside Brawlers, who is a former champion. So, just the name in itself is intriguing here. But both teams are coming off a disappointing year last year. I would say Hunter more disappointing than Eastside Brawlers just because Eastside actually almost made the playoffs. Hunter just melted away, just disappeared, honestly. But it's interesting in the fact that you got Pat Mahomes versus Sam Darnold. And I don't think anyone would say it's interesting in terms of the love of competition between the two. It's more so just that Sam Darnold is a player coming back into the league after leaving New York and just having a horrendous career there, early career. And this is a time for him to be able to rewrite history for himself. Now, whether or not he does that this week, who knows? But we already know what Pat Mahomes is. He is arguably, top 3 quarterback in the league at the moment. I don't think anyone will argue against that. But, it's, for me, I think it's a great offense versus a great defense. And that I think Hunter has definitely the better offense, night and day difference. Whereas Eastside Brawler is night and day, way better on defense versus Hunter of Champions. With that said, I mean, I think we've seen it year after year. Defense wins championships in this league, but I think Eastside's offense is set so far back in week 1 versus Hunter's that I don't know if he can make up for those points where Hunter's going to be getting up on offense. It's going to be close. Don't get me wrong. I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to go Hunter in this just because, again, I'm not feeling super confident about Eastside's offense at the moment with the quarterback situation, even though it's against the Jets, and Sam could have a great game, but I don't think it's going to match Pat Mahomes. And I think, Hunter's defense is going to do just enough to win him that game.
Yeah, I'm not big on Hunter's defense either. He's kind of going off last year not that they can't do great again this year, because Sorensen and Phillips were both really good players last year on defense. Both averaged well over 30 points a game, which is, not much more you can ask for. And he's really, hoping that Simmons starts this year like he ended last year. And with Bud Dupree with a whole new team, who knows what you're going to get. So a lot of uncertainty to me on that defense, whereas with, Eastside Brawlers, you kind of know what you're going to get from Landon Collins and Blake Martinez. They're both veterans who've been doing it forever. And Deshaun Elliott is pretty solid too. We'll see, how he is. And Cam Jordan is always very consistent as well. So to me, it just kind of comes down to Sam Darnold, Patrick Mahomes. But I'm going to go surprise upset Eastside Brawlers. I actually think that Sam Darnold might not have a great year, but he's going to have a great week 1 because revenge games are fun and they inspire people, and he's going to be inspired to light them up. So I'm going to go with Eastside Brawlers in a close one, but I think enough from Sam Darnold, in a good matchup against the Jets gives him an upset, because I do think that Hunter probably has the better overall team. But I think he's going to have to figure some things out on defense, possibly. So I'm going to go slight edge with Eastside Brawlers.
Hope so. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Hunter. And
wow, you're scared. You don't want him to text you and bitch you out, so you said that. You're scared.
No, it's because of Patrick Mahomes. I do think Sam will have a good game, but Patrick's a majority of the time going to have a great game. So
Yeah.
You're right.
You got Devontae Adams. I do slightly like Mr. Nuge's defense better with the Collins and Martinez duo, but I think Hunter will get enough out of his defense, especially safety wise, that the offensive combo of Mahomes and Adams will lift him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said, I think Hunter's team is the better team just because when you have a top 2-3 quarterback and top 2 to 3 wide receiver on offense, that's a great starting point. You know,
Yeah.
hard to beat that. He might have the best quarterback wide receiver combo in the whole MFL. It's hard. It's hard to top it. You know, unless somebody has like, you know, Devontae Adams and fantasy wise Josh Allen. So
Yeah.
even though Tom Brady's the best, but fantasy wise, I'll give it to those other guys. But
Yeah, I agree. So our next matchup, we got Hashling Slashers going against Afternoon Delights. That's Jordan versus Armando. Jordan, I don't know what to say, but I'm definitely picking you in this matchup. I like your team a lot better than Mondo's. I think you've got a really good shot at winning this. And I'm not trying to like jinx you or anything either by saying this. I swear.
It feels like it.
It feels like there's no way you lose this game. No, but you know, I mean, he's got Lamar Jackson, who should have a good game. But I think Matt Ryan against Eagles is a really good matchup for you. And plus, you've got that double-headed monster at running back there between Chubb and Taylor, and your defense is loaded too. And I just think that when I look at his team, it's good, but I think the big difference here is at running back. It is night and day better for you here with Nick Chubb and Jonathan Taylor at flex. So to me, this game, I think it's going to be a 20-point spread, honestly, between the two of you.
yeah, first thing that stands out to me is Afternoon Delights, like just careless manager, doesn't even want to set their lineup. Just kind of frustrating.
Page.
Kind of frustrating as a podcaster trying to predict things, you know. But you know, it is what it is. So I'm gonna give the slight edge to the Hashling Slashers here because at least they took the time to set their lineup. So you know, Jordan does have a great team, though. I'll give him that. He has a really great team. It's going to be a close one, but in the end, I think he's going to realize that if he had set his lineup a little bit sooner, that it probably would have boded well for him.
Yeah, I unfortunately set my lineup about 45 seconds ago, so Steve didn't see it.
Oh man, well, it didn't go through for me, man.
But the lineup is officially set. So. But
I like it. I'm seeing it now.
Yeah,
I'm liking it. Oh yeah, that's a great lineup, man. If you had set that like right before I started my segment, you might have got the win. But it's Hashling Slasher, so.
Yeah, I don't really want to jinx myself, so I'm going to say Mondo takes me with Lamar Jackson going off on the Raiders.
He takes you home tonight, is what you're saying.
Yep.
Take me home.
Okay. Well, let's keep moving. We got Slapdicks next versus Jiu-Jitsu Jesus, two teams I was pretty high on after the draft, and I still feel pretty confident in those two teams this year. But you know, I think with Ryan Tannehill, everyone's really high on him. Everyone's also high on Justin Herbert. The running back situation is a big question mark for both teams. Matt is getting ballsy going with Gus Edwards in the flex, but you know, you got to live life on the edge sometimes. I think for the big difference here is when I compare, honestly, the offense and defensive situations. Darius Smith at DL, I feel like has such a high upside, especially against Jameis Winston this week and the Saints. Christian Kirksey's also going to be interesting to watch going against Jaguars, so I feel like it's going to be I think they're going to be pounding the rock a decent amount in that week, and I think it might keep Christian pretty busy. And I honestly am going to go Slapdicks in this. I just really like the situation with the flex a little bit better. And this sounds weird because I never say this, but I think the DL position might be kind of the difference maker for Slapdicks in this because, like I said, there's a Darius Smith's upside, especially going against New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm a little surprised just because I mean, when it comes to the D-line, I think Aaron Donald, too, I mean, against Chicago could be – and I know I've even said it before that Aaron Donald is more of an on-the-field player than fantasy sometimes, but he obviously has the capability of putting up huge numbers, and this could be one. I mean, that Chicago offense has got a lot to prove, and you don't even know who they're starting at quarterback. So, yeah. But I'm going to go Jiu-Jitsu Jesus either way because even though I like Herbert year long, I think it's a tough matchup at Washington week 1. Never a big fan of West Coast teams coming all the way to the East Coast. Even though week 1 it might be a little bit different, but still, Chargers notoriously don't play that well on the East Coast. And I just think that I like his matchups. I mean, the wide receiver one scares me a little bit. Ridley has a much better matchup in Philly than Allen Robinson against Jalen Ramsey. So that's going to be the one that maybe hurts Matt a little bit. But I'm going to go slight edge Jiu-Jitsu Jesus here. I think I've been saying slight edge a lot tonight because there's a lot of close matchups, which is good.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Jiu-Jitsu Jesus here in this one because I think Tannehill goes off against Arizona, and I actually think Donald has a really good game against Chicago, and Deion Jones racks up some tackles in Philly on Jalen Hurts' running a lot. It's good for linebackers when they play quarterbacks who run a lot because it's a lot of tackles for them when they spy. So if it depends on who they're going to have spy Hurts in a sense. But if it's Jones, he could rack up a lot of tackles, and I think he'll do it.
Yeah, I'll go Matt as well, and I think his running backs are going to play fairly well, and I think that's what's going to be the difference in this one.
Mm-hmm. I like them too. Yeah, good call.
Yeah. Our next matchup, I don't think any of us will publicly say will be close out loud, at least. Abusement Park versus Over the Pants Hand Job. I think Eddie, bless his heart, he was put into an impossible situation, I feel like. But good for him. I feel like he did put some effort into it and put together a respectable team. But I just think Peyton should steamroll this and get the easy dub here in week 1. What about you guys?
Go ahead, Jordan.
All right, let's look at it. Yeah, I'm going to lean Abusement Park in this, and it's mostly because of Kyler Murray. And I think Aaron Jones is pretty underrated as a back. So I'm going to go Abusement Park, say he takes his slight edge. Just off of that, I like a couple things going on I like Zach Cunningham for the Jaguars for over the pants hand job. But I think with the defense and Aaron Jones, Abusement Park will get it probably off of Kyler's legs or something.
All right. Well, I'm going officially upset alert here. I really, and this was before you guys picked. I was really hardly, and even though Abusement Park's team is like amazing, and really, this would be the actual big upset of the week. I think that Jameis is going to get in a shootout with Green Bay. He's going to remind people, he can still sling it. I don't like Mostert for year long because I don't ever trust him to stay healthy. But week 1, he's their guy. He's going to shred that Detroit defense. He's going to shred them. He's going to go off. Boyd against Minnesota, actually do like that because Cincinnati, I think they're out. Even though Higgins and Chase are really good, they might struggle against some of Minnesota's veteran corners. So I like Boyd out of the slot for them. I think they're going to work him a lot. And then his defense, he really did. I'll be interested to see if he keeps Xavier Howard in because he did just pick up Kenny Young today, who I was a big fan of that pickup. Kenny Young is going to be the official, starting linebacker for the Rams, and he's going to be their every down backer. So he could actually end up because he was somebody I was looking at. I wasn't going to use a waiver on him, but I saw that Zach did, and I like that pickup a lot. So if he slides him in there for like a flex, I really do think that team could like really go off this week. Because like Jordan said, Zach Cunningham's good. Malcolm Jenkins is another proven, elite defensive player. So I really do just think he comes out with the upset this week. And I say upset because Abusement Park's team is like loaded. He has a great, great team, and it's going to be a shootout. So I think Eddie has done a pretty decent job so far, honestly, of what he got handed in like building this team. I like it. So more so for this week just because of matchups and stuff. But he did a good job. So I'm going to give him the upset this week.
Cool. All right, our last matchup here, we got Libertard Lobos versus Beg for G-Reg. This is a game that I think it's going to be really close, and this is actually one of the harder ones for me to pick. But I really like the flex play here for Alex a little bit more than I do BP. I never trust starting a cornerback in any IDP league for the most part, especially with Russell Wilson, who doesn't turn over the ball that much. I'm going to go Alex here. Even though BP should have a good game out of Dalvin Cook, I think Gibson's going to keep pace with him actually and surprise some people. And I think the Lobos get the week 1 win here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he definitely has the better roster overall. Not a huge fan of Kirk Cousins, but he has a good matchup week 1. But overall, Levitard Lobos has a great lineup, really solid. You kind of know what you're going to get out of everybody. And first game for Julio, I think they're going to try to make a point to really get him going, especially while he's like still fresh and healthy. And Arizona has a lot of questions at corner to answer for me, especially when they lost their guy Pat Peterson. So who knows if they have a number one, but who they're going to have a number two is the big thing, because you got to cover Julio Jones as well as A.J. Brown. So I do beg for G-Reg's team, but in the end, like you said, yeah, cornerbacks I'm not huge on. I mean, unless he's getting torched by Lockett or DK all game and just getting tackles on one of them, then I don't see him having a great game. So I'm going to go with Levitar's Lobos here by a pretty good amount.
Yeah, I'm going to go with beg for G-Reg. And I just like, even though it's Texans, I like the Vikings going against that Bengals defense. I've been shouting Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods all offseason. I like their potential with Stafford, even though he'll get those points with Stafford. But at least a couple cut into those. Stafford does have a big game. You're not going to get much better than Devin White. And you talk about it. I agree with you not liking corners, but boy, I owned Kenny Moore for probably the last 6 weeks last year, and that dude is a baller. Like, he always finds tackles, finds the football. Like, he's crazy. He doesn't really just play corner. He's like a robber on their defense. So I'm gonna go with beg for G-Reg, even though I like some of the matchups for Lobos as well.
Cool.
Nice. Okay.
Well, let's roll it over, guys, to the game of the week. Jordan's going to sing us a song, actually, for this. No, I'm just
Happy
kidding.
birthday to you. No.
Okay, I didn't know you were actually going to try it. All right. Oh, man. If I would have played this a little bit better, I would have had, like, Monday night theme song playing or something like that, or maybe Thursday night, since it is technically Thursday night where week one's starting. But let's kick it off. We got week one, the Spurs versus primetime players. And this is a game, I mean, I think the storyline going into this for Daquan, at least, is like, does he get his second win versus Cameron for the second time in, 12 seasons, I want to say, and get revenge for the past two Little Critter Bowls? Of course, he got his first win in week one last year against Cameron, so could he do it again? Maybe week one is his jam. This is where he succeeds. But on Cameron's side, I think the storyline going into this is, does he become that first owner to win 3 straight, or to win 3, period? Because no one's ever done either. And he really would be establishing a dynasty at that point. And he's already locked himself into the LCC Hall of Fame, so not much more to really prove there. But Cameron's extremely competitive, so I know he's wanting to rewrite history in the league and so forth. So it's going to be interesting to watch. I think something else we got to look for here is the rosters. You got Big Ben for primetime players versus Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's got Stephon Diggs, Montez Sweat, Roquan Smith, Kari Willis, and of course C.J. Mosley, I believe, who got in waivers. And then on the other side with the Spurs, you've got Tom Brady, Derrick Henry, Chris Godwin, Dante Fowler, Joe Schober, Jesse Bates, and Jamie Collins at flex. These are 2 loaded teams, guys. I don't know what more to say here about either one. Like, when I dive into the nuts and bolts of both rosters, I'll flash it back to primetime players for everyone to see here again. But it's even. It is dead even. And I think you'd be a fool to think either of these guys is going to easily win. I'm sure Cameron's probably being extremely cocky and saying that he will win this easily, but I think he probably knows deep down that this is going to be a tough one for anyone to win, because Daquan's got a solid team here. And then I guess before we make our picks, and I'll let you guys dive into it, I'll run through our week one facts. Spurs lead the series 11-1. The Spurs has won straight in the overall series because of the Little Critter Bowl. The Spurs has outscored primetime players 2,114 to 1,651 overall. This for their careers, of course. The Spurs lead the regular season series 9-1. Primetime players has won 1 straight in the regular season. The Spurs has outscored primetime players 1,586 to 1,168 in the regular season. And then the Spurs leads the postseason. Sorry, we don't have a preseason. 2-0. And the Spurs has won 2 straight in the postseason, of course, because they're 2-0. And then the last thing here, the Spurs has outscored primetime players 228 to 483 in the postseason. So needless to say, the Spurs dominate this series, this rivalry series, if you want to call it that. But don't let this fool you. Obviously, like we showed you, Primetime Players is a very good squad. I'm interested to hear y'all's takes on all of this.
Yeah, so I agree. Cameron put together a really great team. It's going to be interesting to see if he can get 3 in a row. And for those who haven't been here for long, it's crazy to think that it could have all started when Daquan didn't set his lineup. And for Cameron, who cares how you won it? You won it. You got 2 in a row. Who cares? But it is funny to think that, it all kind of started when Daquan just he got sick that day, I think, and just didn't wake up in time, didn't set his lineup. And ever since then, Cameron hasn't looked back. And he's, he has a great team, and I really love what he put together. I think Jamie Collins is, as a former Patriot fan, I actually love Jamie Collins. I was one of his biggest fans. And in Detroit, another team that just, kind of not that good. Defense could be on the field a lot, and he's like their guy at linebacker. So I think he's going to rack up some tackles this year, more of like an underrated, under-the-radar guy. And, Dante Fowler, I think he can get a few sacks against, the Eagles this week. I'm not big on them. And, Tom Brady Godwin, the stack, he's got the stack. He trusted his stack and he started it. And he's gonna flourish, And as for Daquan's team, though, man, like another just great lineup. Big Ben and Diggs, they're gonna be playing against each other, so that's gonna be a big game for him. I'm sure he'll be tuned in. It should be a shootout too. I think those teams are gonna light it up. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire against Cleveland. A lot of people are saying Clyde might finally take that next step this year. We'll see. So that'll be big for him. But his defense is really good. I think McKinney's somebody who could really have a breakout year this year for the Giants on defense. We'll really see what happens at safety for them. They have a lot of good talent out there. So who knows who's going to do what. Because I believe they also brought in Logan Ryan, I want to say, to go along with Jabril Peppers. So, but if he gets the opportunities, he could really break out. And then Roquan Smith is Roquan Smith, especially with Danny Trevathan going out. It just helps Roquan Smith to me. I mean, I know they have Alec Ogletree, but he's still kind of learning the defense and finding his place a little bit. So I think Roquan's going to step up and really just eat up some tackles for a little bit, especially against the Rams team who could run the ball a good bit. So, yeah, I like both teams. So what do you think, Jordan?
It's extremely close. Just running down the board, I'll take – just matchup-wise, I'll take Tom over Ben. I'll take Derrick Henry. I love Chris Godwin's matchup, but I will take Diggs on that. I'll take Sweat on the Fowler matchup. I like Roquan to outscore Joe Schobert. I like McKinney to – this is kind of a toss-up, but I do like McKinney to outscore Jamie Collins. And then
well, we know who you're picking then.
Jesse Bates will probably outscore Corey Willis.
Well, then, I wonder –
yeah, well, with all that being said, I'm going to go with the Spurs and say they take it. And you mentioned the stack. I just think he'll take it off of the matchup with the Dallas defense being the deciding factor in this.
I did see Godwin has a quad injury, so they said he's available week 1. I hate when they say that. Like, I get he's going to play, but sometimes it just makes it sound like, oh, he's available. We might not use him a lot or something.
Yeah,
that could change a lot because he's a big reason why I'm picking Cameron. So if he's not full go, then all of a sudden Thursday night my pick switches to Daquan and his primetime players. So it'll hinge a lot on if his team's fully healthy.
Yeah,
no doubt. And actually, me talking to everybody about trades, I texted Cameron before about a wide receiver 2 in trading room. I was like, oh, I don't need a wide receiver 2. I'm never going to start him. So we'll see how that comes to play if Godwin does get hurt. Not a huge fan of his 2 wide receiver 2s. I mean, a lot of question marks around Traquan Smith and Christian Kirk aren't really guys you feel comfortable starting as your 1 wide receiver. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So we'll see. But if Godwin plays, my pick is Cameron as well. I mean, I wasn't going to make it as obvious as Jordan by just saying I like all his matchups more than Daquan's, but I do like.
Well, I said I like mostly Daquan's matchups, actually.
Yeah.
You said what? You said Brady over Ben, Derrick over Clyde, Godwin.
And then I said Diggs over Godwin, Sweat over.
You did give him the defense. You're right. So
Smith over Collins. Yeah.
I'm going with the Spurs for sure. I think
Me too.
I love Jamie Collins. I think Fowler has a great game, and I think Schobert has a solid game. I'll be interested to see how he fits in Pittsburgh. That's the one question for me now. Who's going to be the main guy there between him and Devin Bush, and how does he fit in? But overall, I think he has the better roster right now and just a better matchup. So I'm going to go with the Spurs.
Yeah, I'm going Spurs too. I think that you could break it down like I like this player of this player and this player of this player, but some of the guys that I like for the Spurs over primetime players, they are head over heels better. Like Derrick Henry over CEH. Yes, please. I don't even think that's going to be close, honestly, until CEH proves to me otherwise. So I'm going the Spurs here. A big part of it's Derrick Henry for me. I feel like they're going to start the season off right, which is good for them because they've got a tough schedule and both teams are going to need to win. Let's be honest about that, especially in the divisions that they're competing in. So it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be close, but I'm going the Spurs like you guys are. Anything else you guys want to say before we hop off?
No, just excited for week 1, man. I'm so glad it's here. I know Cameron said something in the group chat the other day, and nobody really said much, but I agree, Cameron. I'm excited for tomorrow. I am super excited for week 1. In general, I can't wait just for Sunday to somebody call me like, hey, you want to come do this? Be like, bro, you know what it is? It's Sunday. It's NFL. I'm not doing shit unless it's watching football. So
yeah,
get to it. And I'm looking forward to that. So I can't wait. It's been a long time without some football, and it's it's going to be nice to hopefully have full capacity too. Hopefully they're not going to have the same energy as the college crowds did, but hopefully we see some good crowds show up for these NFL games. So
yeah, I think we'll see pretty good crowds across the board. Just the excitement of something to do again.
Yep, can't wait, man.
And if you're one of the people going to the game, and if you're that person that's feeling just a little bit sick, don't be that D-bag who ruins it for the rest of us, all right, and causes some crazy outbreak. Stay home if you're that person.
Don't go to the game sick, please.
Yeah, please don't be that person. But yeah, I'm excited. Week 1 is here. Our episode's coming to an end now. But week 2 is going to be fun. We have some great matchups coming up regardless of how these teams finish week 1. Because let's be honest, week 1 is week 1. We still have 12 more weeks after this now that we're at a 13-week regular season. So there is a lot more football to transpire over the next several months. But we will see you guys in week 2. Best of luck to everyone. Except for John. No, just kidding. I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes. We'll see you guys later.